They say any job is better than no job. You got to be able to put food on the table, pay your bills, even if you dislike your job. About half of all Americans, they don't love their job, right? They might tolerate it, but they don't love it. Same could be said with a government job. Now, government jobs, they were looked at once upon a time as a stable paycheck, good benefits, work-life balance. All of that is highly debatable in 2025. But there are some government jobs nobody wants. Nobody really wants the job. They just accept it because of their situation. So which jobs are those? Let's go over them. The first one is an IRS contact representative. Nobody wants to do this job. This is essentially like a call center job. So you join this agency. You join the IRS. Congratulations. Your agency doesn't like you. The public doesn't like you. When you have to do your job and reach out and talk to them, you think they like you? You are a verbal punching bag at that particular point. And you're not getting paid. You're barely getting paid anything. You're getting paid what, $40,000, $45,000 a year if you're lucky. And guess what? It's temporary. Because the government's hiring these positions and they're looking for somebody to work for low wages to do a lot of their dirty work. A lot of the, hey, you owe us more on taxes. And then after they let loose a string of profanity and calling you all types of names, then you have to go ahead and call another person. So I don't know who in their right mind would say, you know what? I'm going to work for the IRS as a temporary worker at the very bottom of the ladder, and that should be a good move for me. You would do it if you need to, right? And I admire and appreciate that mentality of I'll do any job, no job is beneath me. And yeah, let's do it if we have to do it. But it's not highly desirable. It's actually looked upon quite lowly at this point. The next one is a corrections worker in the Bureau of Prisons. This is under the Department of Justice. DOJ is already looked upon quite negatively. And if you accept a job like this, 2 words become your new reality. Mandatory overtime. That's your world now. Because you don't have enough coworkers. You just entered into an understaffed agency. Super understaffed. So that's what you're going to end up doing. But you're going to get paid a little bit more than the IRS fella. You're going to be making probably around $55,000 a year. You could earn a little bit more. But this type of job right here, there's a reason why 40% of the people that accept it, they quit in their first year. And it's because violence, false accusations, bribery attempts. It is emotionally draining to do it day after day. Not really high on the satisfaction meter. You're not going to be super energized when you get back home. This type of job, this profession, it's needed. It is necessary, but it doesn't seem very sustainable for the long term. One thing that you can count on, though, is that hiring events each and every week will be all across the country trying to recruit more. They're in rural areas sometimes. There was a hiring event in Yazoo City, Mississippi, looking to staff up their prisons. The next one is a Social Security claims representative. The pay is right between what you would make in the IRS and what you would make in the Bureau of Prisons, meaning that it's pretty low. It's pretty low here. You're talking about $45,000, $50,000 a year, maybe. You don't have to worry about violence in this job. No one's going to put hands on you. You're not going to find yourself getting smashed against the wall, but you will hear some very disagreeable things from elderly individuals, people that you're denying disability claims to, or people that are waiting excessively long time periods to hear back on their status. They're not going to be happy with you. This is an overworked agency, multi-hour lines, crushing backlogs, and the turnover here in this agency is actually worse than a corrections officer, which is insane because what they see here is a 60% turnover within 3 years. People are escaping, and the leadership, they're happy to see them leave. They're like, yeah, get out of here. Because the leader right now of SSA, he is putting his faith and trust and confidence into artificial intelligence. He believes that will be a boon, that will save the agency. We'll see if it happens. But the next one we have is a passport specialist in the State Department. And on the surface, doesn't look like it would be that bad. State Department doesn't seem that bad. Passports, I mean, how hard can that be? Well, there's 12 million passport applications that come in each and every year. And the amount of people that are handling it, it's not too many. You're looking at between 1,000 and 2,000 people. You have contractors also here that handle a lot of this administrative portion of this job, but you still need to adjudicate it. The federal workers are responsible for adjudicating this. This is usually at the GS7 level, so you're not getting paid that much. And it goes all the way up to the top end, which is probably like GS11. So you hit GS11, you're at the top of the pyramid. Congratulations. Now, there's not that many people working in the agency right now. Their turnover rate is pretty high. It's pretty atrocious, like every single agency that I've mentioned thus far. The next one is TSA. You're working in the TSA under the Department of Homeland Security. And if you have stepped foot in the airport, and I'm sure you have, you know exactly what we're talking about here. We're talking about the people that are helping you along with the security lines, right? They're coming in at 3 in the morning to start their shift. They're working for ramen noodle wages. They're not getting paid that much. There's a disconnect, actually, between what's happening over in the GS pay scale and what's happening over there at TSA. They did catch a break recently under the Biden administration where they had a huge pay increase, but still not doing that well. And what are you doing? You're interacting with the public once again, not in a good way. You're telling people, hey, that hand lotion is 4 ounces. What are you doing? You can't bring 4 ounces through here. Throw that in the trash. You don't want to have those interactions, probably. Let's say you want to have positive interactions with the public. You know where you go? You don't go to the TSA. You go to the NPS, the National Park Service. That's good interaction. You're actually getting energized throughout your day as you're leading people through tours or you're interacting with guests that come to the park. But that's not happening here. And they've reported recently there's an 80% turnover in some of their airports. They got airports in some really remote, crazy areas. Like there's one in Alaska. You know, Alaska, you get a couple of hours of sunlight and then the rest of the day is pitch black dark. They want to put you in a town. It seems like there's less than 100, 150 people, but there's an airport there somehow. You could end up there. They're going to pay you, though. They're going to give you a little bit of an incentive. They're going to sweeten the deal with like, I think it's $5,000, $10,000. So one good part of this, I'm gonna give you a little bit of optimism here. One good part of this is you probably noticed recently on TV, you saw the Department of Homeland Security's secretary. She was handing out $10,000 checks allegedly to TSA workers because those were the workers that did not call in sick during the government shutdown. Also, the way that some of these federal positions are graded, it's like a huge disparity. You have positions in rural areas that are graded lower. When you take that same position and you put it into an urban area, a major metropolitan area, is graded higher. The way that most people apply for federal government jobs, they send out a whole bunch of applications. We're talking about dozens, if not hundreds. But if that's a strategy that you want to implement, that's on you. I don't recommend it, not that way. You should have more of a narrow focus. Regardless of how you're going about it, you need to ensure you have a narrow pay range, a salary range. Do not get caught trying to go on an interview and accept a job that pays less than you need to live on. You know how much it costs for you to live every month where you're currently at. So don't accept a $35,000, $40,000 a year job if those numbers do not make mathematical sense. If you're not able to sustain your lifestyle, whatever it may be, don't do that. That's like one of the things that you see time and time again that makes you frustrated. How can a person apply for a job when they know that that job does not pay? It doesn't pay enough. And then what happens is the candidate steps back. They're like, okay, you've given me the job offer, but I can't accept this job. That restarts the whole hiring process. That makes the system worse when you do things like that. So make sure you have that range. Only apply for jobs that you can seriously take. You're wasting your time. You're wasting everyone's time. In addition to that, you have some agencies that maybe you shouldn't be applying for, right? There's some agencies that are loved. There's some agencies that are hated. And there's some that are tolerated. What agencies are these? If you want to know exactly what agencies have the best public perception and which ones have the worst. If you're interested in that information, I want you to check this video out next. Stay updated by signing up to the free newsletter down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.